Now we will discuss about first group elements. The elements which are present in this group are lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. I have written this information on the board. You can see group first elements. In this group, the elements which are present lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. If we write the electronic configuration of these elements, let's say we have sodium. The atomic number of sodium is 11. Electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and it is 3s1. Now listen very carefully. You can see in their outermost cell, they have only one electron. These elements have only one electron in their outermost cell. That's why these elements are known as first group elements. Okay, that's why these elements are known as first group elements. Another point. Now we can see in their outermost cell they have s orbital. This is the reason these elements are known as s block elements in the periodic table. Okay, this is the reason these elements are also known as s block elements in the periodic table. Next point. These all the elements are metals. And they are known as alkali metals. Why they are known as alkali metals? Because when we add these metals to water, they produce a strong basic solution. For example, let's say we have sodium. Sodium reacts with water. Okay, sodium reacts with water. What will happen? Sodium will combine with hydroxide ion, forming a strong base. A strong basic solution is there, and this hydrogen will escape in the form of hydrogen gas. Okay, so this gas has escaped out and then we are left with this basic solution. This is a strong base. Okay, so they produce basic solution. Alkali means base. Okay, so this is the reason these elements are known as alkali metals. This is a small introduction about first group elements. Now let's discuss about occurrence. Next we have occurrence of these elements. These elements are highly reactive elements. Even in the presence of oxygen, they get easily oxidized. This is the reason these elements are always found in the combined state and they are never found in a free state in the earth crust. I have written the first point. You can see being highly reactive, they are always found in the combined state in the earth crust. Okay, second statement is there sodium and potassium. Keep in mind, out of all the alkali metals, sodium and potassium are the most abundant elements in the earth crust. Lithium, rubidium and cesium, they are less abundant elements. And francium, francium is the radioactive elements. We have very less application, that's why we do not study about it much. Okay, sodium and potassium are 7th and 8th most abundant elements in the earth crust. This is the position. Okay, now next we have lithium. Lithium is found in the earth crust in the form of silicate as well as phosphate. Spondiumene, you can see chemical formula is given there. Lithium is present in the form of silicate. Amblygonite, you can see in this case lithium is present in the form of phosphate. Next we have sodium. Sodium is found in the form of rocks. Okay, sodium is found in the form of rocks. Let's say we have sodium nitrate. Sodium nitrate in the form of rocks is known as chili saltpeter. Next we have in the form of sulfate is there borax. Na2B4O7 10H2. It is a hydrated compound. Okay, these water molecules are present in the form of crystals. Okay, next we have Glauber salt. Keep in mind this salt is a hydrated salt, and Na2BSO4 is there. This is anhydrous salt. In this case water molecules are present, in this case water molecules are not present. This is hydrated salt and this is anhydrous salt. Next we have cryolite. In this case also you can see sodium is present, Na3AlF6. Now next we have potassium is there. Potassium is also found in the form of rocks. Let's say we have potassium nitrate. Potassium nitrate is known as Indian chili saltpeter. Keep in mind, sodium nitrate is known as chili saltpeter and potassium nitrate is known as Indian chili saltpeter. This is Indian chili saltpeter. Next we have carnallite. It is a double salt. You can see KCl, potassium chloride is one salt, magnesium chloride is another salt. This is hydrated double salt because you can see 6 water molecules in the form of crystals are present. Okay, in this case potassium is present. Next we have feldspar. In this case also you can see potassium is present. Potassium oxide, aluminum oxide, then we have 6 SiO2. So these are the some occurrence of alkali metals. Now let's discuss about the physical properties of these elements. Next we have physical properties. The first physical property which we discussed, that is electronic configuration. About electronic configuration, we have already learned in structure of atom how to write electronic configuration. Outermost electronic configuration for these element is NS1, where N is the principal quantum number. It represents the number of cells. As well as number of period. Okay, let's say we have lithium is there. Lithium is present in the second period, then N value will be 2, then outermost electronic configuration for the lithium is 2s1. Similarly, we have sodium present in the third period, then N value is 3, then outermost electronic configuration will be 3s1. Okay, potassium is present in the fourth period, then N value will be 4, and then outermost electronic configuration for the potassium will be 4s1. Similarly, we can write the outermost electronic configuration for the rest of the elements in this group. Okay, now we move on to atomic as well as ionic radius. Okay, next physical property we have atomic and ionic radius. Okay, so very simple concept is there. Okay, as we have learned, in classification of periodic table, as N value increases, means number of cell increases, size increases and radius also increases. Let me write this statement. As N value increases, principal quantum number value increases. Always keep in mind N value will start from 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Okay, N value can never be 0. Okay, as N value increases, number of cells, okay, increase, size increases, and then radius also increases. So you can see, let's say we have lithium is there, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium and cesium. Okay, this is the order we get because this is present in the second period, third, fourth, so on. Okay, so as N value increases, their size also increases. Same is the case in case of ionic radius also. Lithium ion, then sodium ion, then potassium ion, then rubidium ion, then cesium ion is there. Okay, same is the trend is found in case of ionic radius also. Now question arises here, if we have to compare, okay, if we have to compare the radius, atomic radius, ionic radius, which one is larger? Ionic radius larger, atomic radius is larger. Now pay attention very carefully. Let's say I talk about lithium is there. Okay, lithium is present in the second period, then it means that it has two cells, one cell and second cell. Atomic number of lithium is 3. Okay, 2 electrons are present in the first cell and 1 electron is present in the outermost cell. Okay, now when this element is losing 1 electron, undergoes oxidation by losing electrons, it converts into lithium ion. Okay, so now you can see this electron is removed. After this, what will happen, it is left with only one orbit, because in this orbit we do not have any electrons, and any cell which does not have any electron we do not consider it. Okay, then now it is left with only one orbit in which 2 electrons are present, lithium ion. In this case, total number of electrons will be 2. Okay, now compare. In this case N value is 2, in this case N value is 1. Okay, so in case of lithium ion N value is 1, and in case of lithium atom N value is 2. Okay, so as N value decreases, size will also decrease. This is the reason ionic radius is smaller than atomic radius. Ionic radius is smaller than atomic radius. Remember this information. Okay, the trend, if we go from left to right, okay, in this arrangement, so size is increasing in both atomic radius as well as ionic radius case, because N value is increasing. But if we compare both, then atomic radius is larger than ionic radius. Now let's move on to the next property. Next we have physical state. These all the alkali metals are in the solid state. They are silvery white solids. They are silvery white solids. Okay, they are silvery white solids. Next, they are soft and light in weight. As we have already learned, these alkali metals are highly reactive. Even in the presence of oxygen, they get easily oxidized, means they undergo chemical change, chemical reactions. Oxidation is a chemical reactions. Okay, they undergo chemical reactions. So this is the reason, being highly reactive, when they are freshly cut, they get easily tarnished. Like we have apple is there. When we cut apple, surface area of apple after some time, will change. The color of the surface area of the apple will change. So being highly reactive, you can write this in tense, being highly reactive, when freshly cut, easily get tarnished. Okay, now next property we have, that is flame test. What happens in this flame test exactly? when alkali metals are heated in Bunsen burners, okay, when alkali metals are heated in Bunsen burner, electrons get excited, okay, electrons get excited, they jump from lower orbit to higher orbit, okay. When they return from higher orbit to lower orbit, they emit radiations in different wavelengths showing different colors. They emit radiation in different wavelengths showing different colors. And now how we have to memorize the colors, that is the important part, okay. We have lithium is there, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, okay. Each element is showing different colors in a flame test, okay, when they are heated in Bunsen burners, okay. So how we have to memorize the colors? You have to remember one sentence, a small sentence is there, cry we are very bad. This is a simple sentence you guys have to memorize, okay. Cry we are very bad. C is standing for crimson, and R is standing for red. The lithium shows crimson red. Next we have Y is standing for yellow colors, okay, very simple. V is standing for violet, potassium shows violet colors. R is standing for red, okay, R is standing for red. V is standing for violet, okay. Then we have B is standing for black, very simple, B is standing for black. So remember this sentence, cry we are very bad, and then you can get lithium shows crimson red, sodium shows yellow color, potassium shows violet color, rubidium shows red violet color, cesium shows black colors, okay, very simple concept. Now let's move on to the next property. Next we have conductivity. As we have learned, metals are good conductor of heat and electricity. Why? Because in their outermost shell, electrons are loosely held, and these electrons play a significant role in determining the conductivity of metals, okay, in conductivity of metals. I can write the sentence, good conductor of heat and electricity. Reason is that due to loosely held outermost electron, okay, due to outermost electron. Now next property we have, that is ionization enthalpy. About ionization enthalpy we have learned already in the periodic table of elements, okay, in classification of periodic table of elements. Ionization enthalpy is the amount of energy required to remove the outermost electron from a neutral gaseous atom. Keep in mind, neutral gaseous atom. That atom should be in the gaseous state and it should be neutral, okay. So as we have seen, these all the alkali metals in the solid state. So first of all, we convert solid into gaseous state by using the process that is called as sublimation, okay. Sodium is in the solid state. By sublimation process, okay, we convert this element into gaseous state, okay. Now it is a neutral, does not carry any charge, gaseous atom, okay. From this I remove one electron by using some amount of energy, and that amount of energy will be known as ionization enthalpy. If I remove one electron, ionization enthalpy will be known as first ionization enthalpy. If I remove one electron, once I have removed one electron, then it will carry one positive charge. It is in gaseous state. Again if I remove the second electron, next electrons, okay, again if you remove the electron, so overall how many electrons we have removed? 2 electrons, 1 and 1 total. So this ionization enthalpy will be known as the second ionization enthalpy. It will carry 2 positive charge, okay, it will carry, but it's still in the gaseous state. Now pay attention very carefully. We check the stability. Keep in mind, if we remove electron from an unstable element, ionization enthalpy will be less, but if we remove electron from the stable element, then ionization enthalpy will be very high, because any element does not want to convert from stable state into unstable state, okay. In this case, atomic number is 11, okay, 11. If it is losing one electron, then it will attain the electronic configuration of noble gas element. It will have 10 atomic number will be 10. So that's why it has greater tendency to convert into Na plus ion, because it will be in a stable state, means it is very reactive, okay. It has greater tendency to lose the electron, means easily it will lose the electron. That's why we require less amount of energy to remove that electron. So ionization enthalpy, first ionization enthalpy will be less, okay, first ionization enthalpy will be less. Now you can see it has atomic number 10, and then it is attaining the electronic configuration of neon, because atomic number of neon is also 10, okay. Now this is in highly stable state. because it has attained the electronic configuration of noble gas element. From the stable element, from the stable ion, if you remove again some more electrons, you know, a lot of energy will be required. Means this second ionization enthalpy is going to be far greater than first ionization enthalpy. First ionization enthalpy. Here we can conclude ionization enthalpy. Ionization enthalpy is inversely proportional to size and directly proportional to stability. Directly proportional to stability. This is what we can conclude. Okay, directly proportional to stability. Okay, so higher is the stability, higher is the ionization enthalpy. Very simple concept is there. Now keep in mind, if the ionization enthalpy is lower for an element, you know, so that element will have greater tendency to lose the electrons. Lower is the ionization enthalpy of an element, higher is the tendency of that element to lose electrons. Especially I am talking about metals, because metals have a tendency to lose electrons. Okay, you can write this sentence in your notebook. Now let's move on to the next property. Next we have electropositive characters. Electropositive characters, or we can say metallic characters. Metallic characters. Okay, metallic characters. About metals we have learned, you know, metals have greater tendency to lose electrons. Okay, greater tendency to lose electrons. Keep in mind, as in metals n value increases. Okay, n value increases, that is principal quantum numbers. As n value increases, number of cell increase. Okay, then distance between nucleus. Okay, distance between nucleus and outermost electron increases. Okay, then tendency to lose the electron also increases. Okay, then we have tendency to lose electron also increases, because attraction is very less. If the distance between the nucleus and outermost electron is very long, you know, then attraction between these two will be very less, then outermost electron can be removed very easily. Then tendency to lose the electron also increases, and hence electropositive character also increases. Electropositive character is more about tendency to lose the electron. Electropositive character also increases. Very simple concept. So as we have seen, you know, you can see lithium is there, but then we have lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. Okay, so as n value increases, tendency to lose the electron also increases, then electropositive character also increases. Okay, so you can see electropositive character also increases from left to right in this series. Okay, cesium will have greater tendency to lose electron than potassium. Why? Because in this case n value is very high. Okay, and the distance between the nucleus and outermost electrons is very high. Okay, this is the reason, since they have greater tendency to lose the electron, and they lose electron even in the presence of sunlight. Okay, so now let's say if I talk about potassium is there, even in the presence of sunlight they lose the electron. So this is the reason, because of this property, you know, these elements, especially potassium and cesium, are used in photochemical cells. Okay, photochemical cells. This is the reason, because they are very sensitive to heat, you know, even in small heat they lose the electron, because outermost electrons are loosely held, and so their electropositive character is very high due to the higher tendency to lose electrons. Okay, let's move on to the next property. Next we have hydration enthalpy. It's quite important property. Okay, hydration enthalpy, you can write important. Okay, you can write important. Okay, it is an exothermic process. It is the amount of energy released when 1 mole of metal ion in the gaseous state is added to water to get it hydrated. Okay, metal ion combines with water molecule to get hydrated. Hydrated means water molecule combined with metal ions. Okay, since bond formation is taking place, that's why this process is what? Exothermic. Bond breaking is endothermic, bond forming is exothermic. Now pay attention carefully. It is the amount of energy released when 1 mole of ion in gaseous state is dissolve in water to get it hydrated. Okay, we can represent this definition in an equation. Let's say we have metal ion is there, metal ion, and it is in the gaseous state. We add water molecule, liquid water, then it converts into aqueous state, and in this case enthalpy delta H value will be negative because it is an exothermic process. Okay, metal ion in the gaseous state is converted into hydrated state. Aqueous means water molecule is attached there. Okay, water molecule is attached. Now pay attention very carefully. Always keep in mind hydration enthalpy is inversely proportional to size. Hydration enthalpy is inversely proportional to the size of ion. You can mention ion also. Okay, smaller is the size of ions, higher is the hydration enthalpy. Smaller is the size of ion, higher is the hydration enthalpy. Lithium ion, then sodium ion, then potassium ion, then rubidium ion, and then cesium ion. Okay, so better I mention it like this, because we have to show the trend of hydration enthalpy. Okay, so hydration enthalpy is increasing from right to left. Hydration enthalpy. Okay, smaller is the size of metal ion, higher is the hydration enthalpy. Since lithium ion is smaller in size out of all these metal ions, that's why it has highest hydration enthalpy among these metal ions. Okay, highest hydration enthalpy, and this is the reason the lithium ions are highly hydrated. Okay, the ions of lithium are highly hydrated. Okay, due to a small size and high hydration enthalpy. High hydration enthalpy, the ions of lithium are highly hydrated. You can write this sentence. I'm talking about especially lithium ion. Okay, the ion of lithium are highly hydrated. Let's say we have lithium, and then we have two H2O is there. Hydrated, water molecule is attached. Okay, hydrated. Now pay attention carefully. Since small ions are highly hydrated, why? Because hydration enthalpy is very high. Okay, so they become heavier elements, heavier molecules, heavier molecule, because water molecule is also attached. Okay, when bond formation is taking place, heat is released, but they are heavier, and comparatively single ions, they are heavier molecules. And now what happens exactly when these hydrated ions are coming under the influence of electric field? Heavier ions are coming under the influence of electric field, their mobility will be very less. Okay, heavy elements will have less mobility, light elements will have higher mobility. This is the reason. If we talk about the mobility, let me write over here, mobility of ions. Keep in mind mobility of these ions, is inversely proportional to hydration enthalpy. Inversely proportional to hydration enthalpy, or directly proportional to size also, you can say. Directly proportional to size. Okay, as the size of these metal ion increases, hydration enthalpy decreases and mobility of ions increases. Okay, so this is the trend we have. Mobility of ions, you can write mobility of ions increases from left to right in this range. Okay, mobility of ions, because size is increasing, but they become light molecule because they are less hydrated. These metal ions are highly hydrated. That's why their mobility under the influence of electric field is very less. Okay, so this is the reason mobility of ions is increasing from left to right, and hydration enthalpy, since it is inversely proportional to size, it is increasing from right to left. Okay, now let's move on to the next property. Next we have standard oxidation potential. Standard oxidation potential. In short form we say that is SOP. Okay, about standard oxidation potential we have learned in redox reaction under electrolysis. Okay, we had learned higher is the value of standard oxidation potential, greater is the tendency to undergo oxidation and act as a better reducing agent. Okay, act as a better reducing agent. Metals have greater tendency to lose electron to undergo oxidation in reaction, that's why they act as a better reducing agent. And now we are going to determine reducing power based on oxidation potential, standard oxidation potential. Now if we look at the trend of SOP values, lithium, sodium, potassium and rubidium and cesium. Lithium has highest value of SOP, then potassium, and these elements have almost the same SOP values. Means lithium is acting as the strongest reducing agent. Why? Because it has highest value of SOP. Then potassium is a better reducing agent than sodium because it has greater value of SOP than sodium. Okay, since they act as a better reducing agent, this is the reason these metals, whenever they react with water or acid, they easily remove hydrogen gas. Let's say we have sodium is there reacting with water, it will form NaOH, hydrogen gas is released. If I take sodium, acid is taken as Cl, then we have sodium and sodium chloride, salt is formed, corresponding salt will be formed, then we have a hydrogen gas released. Okay, if you take H2SO4 also, H2SO4 sulfate ion, you can take 2 sodium, Na2SO4 hydrogen gas will be released. If you take acetic acid also, CH3COOH, in this case what will happen? A sodium acetate will be formed, salt, and hydrogen gas is released. They easily release hydrogen gas. This is a complete redox reaction. You can see sodium 0, this side it is +1. This is what oxidation, and hydrogen is +1, this side hydrogen is 0. This is what reduction. Okay, complete redox reaction is taking place. Complete redox reaction is taking place. Now we talk about ionization enthalpy. Okay, ionization enthalpy we have learned, ionization enthalpy is inversely proportional to size. Smaller is the size of atom, higher is the ionization enthalpy, and higher is the ionization enthalpy, least a minimum tendency to lose the electron. Okay, if I talk about ionization enthalpy, lithium is supposed to have its highest ionization enthalpy in comparison to rest of the elements. Why? Because its size is very small. Then it is supposed to have lowest tendency to lose the electron and act as a mild reducing agent. But if you go for the SOP, it has highest value, then it is acting as a strongest reducing agent. Contradiction is there. By using ionization enthalpy, I find it as a mild reducing agent. By SOP value, I am finding it as a strong reducing agent. Keep in mind, ionization enthalpy is applicable for the neutral gaseous atom. Whenever these metals are in the gaseous state, okay, whenever these metals are in the gaseous state, let's say we have lithium gaseous state, lithium, sodium gas, potassium, and then we have rubidium, and then cesium is there. It is in the gaseous state. Okay, gaseous state. So they will be acting as a, if I say this is the trend is supposed to be in general. In general, we can say this will be the trend because in the gaseous state it has highest ionization enthalpy. Then it will be acting as a mild reducing agent. And since in this case ionization enthalpy is very less, so it has greater tendency to lose the electron, greater tendency to undergo oxidation and act as a better reducing agent. That's why cesium in a gaseous state is supposed to act as a better reducing agent than lithium. Okay, they are in a solid state. Okay, now if I talk about in a hydrated state, you can take it as a hydrated state. You can see lithium ion. Now I come to ionic state. Lithium ion, which is smallest size, okay, which is smallest in size. We have learned about hydration enthalpy. Hydration enthalpy is inversely proportional to size. Okay, as the size decreases, hydration enthalpy increases. Okay, so these metal ions will be acting as a lithium ion. Especially I am focusing on the lithium ion. Okay, keep in mind, I just remove this one. Contradiction is over here only. I am talking about this state. when lithium atom is there, it is acting based on SOP value, it is acting as a strongest reducing agent. But when it is in the gaseous state, it is supposed to act as a mild reducing agent because ionization enthalpy is very high. But when same lithium is given in the ionic form, so in this case hydration enthalpy will be very high. Okay, it is given in the aqueous state. It is given in the aqueous state. Keep in mind, lithium ions, since they are in the aqueous state and since they have highest hydration enthalpy, they will be acting as a powerful reducing agent, a strong reducing agent due to high hydration enthalpy, in aqueous state. You can write in aqueous state. Okay, now let me conclude this discussion. Let me conclude. Based on SOP value, it acts as a strong reducing agent. Based on ionization enthalpy, in the gaseous state, it acts as a mild reducing agent. Okay, now when we talk about in aqueous state, in the aqueous state, based on the hydration enthalpy, since it has highest value of hydration enthalpy due to smallest size, in aqueous state it acts as a very powerful, strong reducing agent. Okay, so these are the physical properties we have completed. Now in the next lecture we will discuss about the chemical properties of these elements.